Hello everyone, welcome to an episode of Cook with Lamarr, where we will be cooking a 4th of July feast for one. Alright, I'm just cooking for myself. And I had a taste for chicken wings and some homemade mashed potatoes. And for the green, we're going to have some lettuce that's actually frozen, so we're going to have to thaw this out. Looks like a little bit of it we're going to have to throw out up here, so I'm going to have to go through the lettuce because it is freezing, which happens sometimes. I just want to get rid of it kind of quickly and eat it up. So that'll be our greens. I do have some wine, for those of you celebrating 4th of July. I don't always like to cook, and drink wine, but it is very enjoyable to sometimes cook and drink wine. It's just very relaxing, and I felt like 4th of July was the perfect time to do it. Now you've got to be careful. You don't want to, have too much to drink and then forget your cooking, right? That could be a dangerous situation. Trust me, I know from experience, all right? So you want to, mind your drinking while you're cooking. Safety first. The first thing I'm going to cook are these chicken wings. We're going to go through the process. I'm going to show you how everything is cooked, or how I cook everything, and I'll show you the finished product. So let's cook together. All right, 4th of July feast. Really simple. I know, it's like, everyone has their own kind of 4th of July festiveness that they do, but since I'm just cooking for me, and I particularly had a taste tonight for some chicken wings, homemade mashed potatoes, and some salad, that's what I'm going to eat. So if you guys want to join me, alright, I also wouldn't mind some homemade macaroni and cheese, but that's too much. It's not Thanksgiving, right? This will be really simple this 4th of July. Let's go ahead and thaw out these chicken wings. I'm going to prepare the chicken wings first. We're going to prepare the seasonings. We'll put the chicken wings in the oven, and by around the time that the chicken wings are in, for about 20 minutes, we'll work on the potatoes, okay? Because the chicken wings take a bit longer to cook, because you have to turn them over and cook them for a certain amount of time on each side. Alright, so we're going to get these chicken wings thawed out. I'm going to be really simple. I'm just going to submerge this whole bag in some hot water. If the chicken gets wet, it's okay. I mean, it's going to get wet anyway. This is pre-packaged chicken. It was frozen when I bought it, so it is clean for the most part. But it's like submerging it in the water also gives it that extra cleanliness just to be safe. While we do all of these things, I'm going to work on thawing out this salad. I hate when this happens, but just be mindful that sometimes it happens. Lettuce can thaw out because it's very watery. Alright, you guys, let's get cooking. And also, the way we're going to cook the chicken wings, by the way, is with this Jordyn Woods recipe. I have cooked her chicken wings before. This is actually probably my 4th or 5th time cooking this recipe. I love her chicken wings.
First, you're going to need your chicken wings. I prefer to buy organic if you can. If not, it's fine. Whatever you can get. But your chicken wings. And then a key ingredient to this recipe is baking powder.
Yes, so I have my baking powder. Let me get my baking powder, Jordyn. Hold on. Let me get it, girl. Hold on. We've got our baking powder, aluminum free. Alright, so we're going to be cooking Jordyn Woods wing recipe. It is a really good recipe, you guys. I'm not going to lie. The chicken wings turn out really great, and you can be versatile with the seasoning. So let's get cooking. Alright, to thaw out the chicken wings, we're literally just going to submerge the bag in this hot water. I didn't want to get it too hot, and I'm just kind of pushing. I think this chicken wing bag has been sitting in the freezer for a while, so when things sit in the freezer for a while, they really congeal, in a way where the ice hardens and things get stuck together. So I'm unsticking everything. Now that everything is unstuck, what you want to do is you can leave this here to unthaw, But what I like to do is maybe every, 5-10 minutes, I'll flip it over on the other side just so it thaws out easier. Unless it, of course, sinks to the bottom on its own. In that case, you don't have to worry about flipping it over at all because it's submerged, alright? So this won't take more than probably, 10-20 minutes at the most, if that. 15, probably. And then we'll get the seasonings ready, alright?
This part gets a little tricky because I just kind of gauge at how much chicken I have and how much seasoning to put, so you can kind of just season at your own liking, but you can just watch how I do it and kind of go from there. But I have a lot of chicken in here, and seasoning either falls off or doesn't fully coat everything, so I'm very generous with my seasoning. Think about how we have like layers of chicken, so I want to make sure I put enough that the chicken is fully coated. We're gonna put the Miss Dash.
Alright, so you heard the woman. She says to use a generous coating because we do have layers of chicken here. I've got my chicken wings nice and thawed out. I'm gonna get the camera a bit more focused. So I've got them nice and thawed out, and I'm ready to apply my seasonings. I have set the oven to 425. I set the oven maybe about 30 minutes ago, so that's been kind of, getting hot. What else did she say that was important? It's also important when you do thaw out your chicken or clean it or whatever you do to pat it dry so that the seasonings can stick. So I have sea salt, as she said earlier, baking powder. I have harissa seasoning, which is a hot kind of seasoning. I have Berber seasoning, which is also a little bit spicy, but is more similar, to paprika. And unfortunately, I think I ran out of paprika. I like paprika on my chicken, but I didn't have any, so we're going to have to improvise. I do have organic adobo seasoning, adobo seasoning. I have some garlic salt and some pepper, of course. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to put all the seasonings in, but actually, the first thing I need to do is put a new roll of paper towels, because we're definitely going to probably need some paper towels before our hands get dirty and start touching the chicken. So that's good. Always got to prepare ahead. Let me wash my hands because I just put my hand in the trash can. That's one thing about me in the kitchen, is that I am constantly washing my hands. I do not want to contaminate. I do not want to get myself sick or anyone I'm cooking for sick. Once again, I'm cooking for myself. So when we do this with these wings, it's interesting because you have to kind of mix everything together, because unless you're wearing gloves, but even when you're wearing gloves, you've still got to be careful. You've got to get the mixing right. So she's right, we do have layers of chicken here. So I'm going to kind of be generous with the seasoning. The first thing I do want to put in is the baking powder. You want to make sure each coat of chicken is coated with the baking powder. Alright. I'll put a little bit more just because, like I said, we do have layers of chicken here. That might be good. Alright, we'll put that to the side. I'm just going to add seasonings. I'm going to put some pepper. Remember, we do have layers of chicken here, so it's okay to be a bit generous, not too generous. You don't want the chicken to this or that. That's probably good with the pepper. I'm going to put some, actually, I think I want to put the salt at the end. Alright. Let's do the Berber seasoning, which is taking place for paprika. And we'll give the chicken a really good smoky flavor. Sometimes you got to kind of hit the thing with it. Hit the dab, right? That's good. Smells so good. I love Berber seasoning. Berber seasoning is also really good in mashed potatoes, so I'll probably put some in my personal mashed potatoes. I'm going to put some harissa seasoning, which is kind of like hot seasoning. I like a little spicy, not too much. Sometimes my stomach can handle extra spicy. Seems like we may have to shake this up a bit. Let's see. Let's shake it up. Dang. Alright, we may have to do it this way then. Yeah, there we go. We've got that seasoning coming out. Alright, we should be good. I don't want it too spicy. And now I'm going to put some adobo seasoning. Can you guys hear the fireworks? That smells good. A lot of herbs. Gotta make sure I cough away from the chicken. I'm gonna put some sea salt. Now we're also using garlic salt, so we don't want to use too much of each. Sea salt is just an overall good, kind of like really good salt, kind of, you know. That's good. But I think the garlic salt really adds an extra accent of salt and that garlicky kind of flavor. So I like to kind of add that as an accent on top. Alright, we're good. Now we mix everything together. After I mix everything together, I'm going to wash my hands. So I'm going to have the sink ready for me to wash my hands. Now you can use gloves. I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter. My hands are clean. And it's just me cooking for myself. But you just kind of want to mix the chicken and make sure that each chicken gets coated with the seasoning. See how all the seasonings blend in together and every piece of chicken is coated properly? Love it. And it smells so good, you guys. Oh my god. This is going to be delicious. And you can add sauce to it because I'm kind of in a time crunch and I just want to be quick, have a delicious meal. These are good. Alright. Let me wash my hands. Uh-oh. My AirPod dropped. I've got the seasonings off, so I'm just going to very quickly grab a napkin. Use the napkin to grab the soap. Wash my hands. Throw away the napkin. Dry my hands off. Keep the kitchen sink running, actually. I'll lower it just a little bit so you guys can hear me. But I want the kitchen sink to keep going because I'm just going to have to keep washing my hands. But the chicken is ready. It's seasoned perfectly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the chicken to our baking pan. And I'll show you that process. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so for making these wings, the awesome thing that I love about these wings is that they get crispy due to the baking powder and the way they're cooked. You want to cook them in one of these baking sheets. You know, I mean, these are pretty standard and easy, and you know, to find in any kitchen. I think this is Nordic ware. You want to get one of these baking. I think they're called baking sheets. And what this does is it raises what you're cooking, so that it's not just kind of stuck to the pan. Where, you know, of course, you know, this gets hot and it stays hot, you know, or it increases its heat, and then we get that stuck chicken on there, where often the bottom, you know, is not always cooked properly, or, you know, stuck to the pan and then the seasoning sticks. So this helps with that issue. Now seasoning does still stick to this. I think this might be non-stick. I think sometimes these can be sold together. I don't think I bought these together. I think I bought both of them separately, but it just so happened that this fit in here, so it was perfect. I think I may have actually bought this at I think I bought this at a Target, and I may have bought this at a Food Line or something like, or a grocery store. But anyways, look for your local grocery store for these little inserts. I think they're called trays, or, you know, heating trays, cooling trays. But sometimes you want to make sure that you get one that can be put in the oven, because I don't think they can all be put in the oven. I think this is oven safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to place each piece of chicken on this rack here. I'm going to position them so they all fit on it, so we don't have to put, you know, two racks. And what we want to do is we're going to put them in, I think for about 30-40 minutes each side. Alright, so we're going to put them in 30-40 minutes and then flip each one, put them in back in for another 30-40 minutes, okay? So, once again, I'm just going to use my fingers, place them exactly where I want them on the rack. Easy peasy, no need to make this extra or, you know, crazy. Alright. You just want to make sure you give them room to cook. I just want to make sure they all fit. This is a perfect, you know, healthy, because you're not frying it, but it almost comes out fried. You know, you'll see at the end. This is a really good, healthy, you know, perfect 4th of July, July 4th, or any sort of holiday, you know, especially during the summertime, you know, cookout or something like that recipe, you know, that you can take with you. Sometimes, you know, people do potlucks. You bring a dish with you or something like that. This is a really good dish to bring with you. You know, people may think it's fried, you know, but it's actually baked. It's a great thing to cook at home. It's really easy peasy. You know, great also, I would imagine, during like a Super Bowl event or something like that. So, I love this recipe. They're all on there. I'm going to go wash my hands. Good thing is you want to use one hand, so that one dry hand or clean hand you can pick the soap up with. Once again, no cross-contamination. That's how people get sick, you know, is when, you know, we think we're being healthy, but we're not paying attention to the details of, you know, picking up things or touching things with dirty hands. You've got to be careful with that. Anyways, like I said, the oven's been preheating already for, I would say 30 minutes. So we're just going to put this in here for about 30-45 minutes, and then we'll flip it on the other side. I would say maybe about 20 minutes in, or right before I flip them to the other side, is when we'll get started on the mashed potatoes, because they don't take that long to cook. The longest process is really kind of like getting them either boiled or baked, you know, however you choose to do them. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just get focused on this chicken because this is the longest, alright? So we want our chicken cooked really good. So we're going to let that bake, and we'll get started on the potatoes soon. Alright, I've got the air going. It's hot in here in this kitchen. We're really cooking up in this kitchen. Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to homemade mashed potatoes, I like them homemade. I like them natural. Alright, and I don't like the skin. I know some people like the skin. It does give it more texture. The skin is technically healthy for you as well, or, you know, good for you. It's not necessarily bad, but when I make homemade mashed potatoes, I like them creamy. One of the best investments you can make is in a potato peeler or vegetable peeler. This can be used in so many different ways. Whenever I'm cutting up onions, for example, for a salad, sometimes I'll just break this out and go at the onion, and it makes like the perfect strands of red onion or any type of onion for a salad. So this comes in handy a lot of times, but it makes peeling potatoes so much easier, so much faster. Let me show you. I'm on my last potato actually. Let me show you all before we start cutting my last potato. I'm on my last potato, and what we've got going over here is I've got my other potatoes that I have already kind of scalped, if you want to use that word. I've got my other potatoes here that I've scalped, and they are just kind of sitting in water, so they, you know, nothing happens to the starch, or, you know, they don't dry out or anything like that. Now, why I'm using this wok, this is actually a wok. It is a jumbo wok, so it is a huge wok. Maybe I can pull it up and show you. Can you see how big this wok is? Jesus Christ, it's like a machine here. I don't know. What's interesting is my story with this wok is I've gone back and forth on it. Do I want to give it away? Do I want to, you know, do I want to throw it away? Because I've bought so many other, you know, different types of cookware since then. But I've had so many good memories with this wok, and I think, as you, maybe a lot of cooks understand, I don't know, me as a cook, I get kind of attached to some of my stuff. The reason why I'm cooking my mashed potatoes in this, because I have so many other things I could cook it in. I actually learned how to first make homemade mashed potatoes in this wok. So it's kind of familiar to me. And this wok has gone through a lot. It is supposed to be non-stick. It is carbon steel though. It is kind of scratched at the bottom. I did kind of scratch the non-stick, but apparently that's not such a bad thing with carbon steel. So I'm still learning, like, you know, how to use this wok, even after having it for about a year or two at this point. But I say all this to say I first learned how to make mashed potatoes in this wok. So we're gonna make mashed potatoes in this wok. If you have a wok, know that you can make mashed potatoes in it. If you don't have a wok in your kitchen, I would definitely get a wok. A wok is so versatile, and they come in many different sizes. So this one is really good for making mashed potatoes. I've made soup in this. I've also cooked meat in this before. So this is really, really versatile. Let's go ahead and finish peeling this last potato though, and I'll show you how to make mashed potatoes in a wok. Alright, and I think for me, I like my mashed potatoes a bit cheesy, so they may be cheesy mashed potatoes. I hope you like cheesy mashed potatoes. Not too cheesy, but I like a little bit of, you know, a little bit of zest, I guess you could say, in my mashed potatoes. See how easy this skin is coming off? Now you've got to be careful with these potato or these vegetable peelers, because you can nick yourself. You always want to make sure you're peeling away from your hand. So whenever you're peeling, you always want to position your hand away from, or your fingers away from the direction you're peeling. See how I'm trying to, you know, shift my hand so I don't make sure I nick my finger or fingernail, because I've done that before a couple times too. It's not fun. Alright. Usually these aren't too sharp, but you get a sharp one, you can really do some damage to yourself if you're not careful. Alright. You just peel the skin. Gotta be extra careful at the top here. Alright. Alright. And then the sides, you can just really grip it and peel once again away from your hand, or the direction of your fingers. Move your fingers away from the direction in which you're peeling, and your hands, or your hand. Remember, I'm all about safety in my kitchen. Safety first. We don't want any injuries that can ruin the food and the human. Right? Also, I love about the vegetable peelers, you can nick away any bad bits there too. Alright, so this is as good as it's going to get there. So we're going to put this in there with the rest of the potatoes. Once again, because I am cooking for myself, I'm just going to use 4 potatoes. 4 potatoes will give us more than enough mashed potatoes, especially for just me alone. You know, and these are some good size russet potatoes, by the way. These are russet potatoes. You want to make sure for mashed potatoes you get a starchy potato. Russet potatoes are good. Yukon potatoes are also good as well. Alright, let's go ahead and get... So we didn't get too much lettuce from that bag of lettuce. Some of it just kind of, I guess, went frozen and got bad, but we got enough that I can make a good side salad. I mean, of course, I'll add some fresh herb or fresh vegetables, raw vegetables, to kind of beef it up. Right now, I'm cutting up my potatoes and putting them in the wok, getting ready to boil. So I'm getting ready to cut up my last bit, my last potato. I like to kind of cut them in the middle. Alright. Alright, let's cut this a little bit more in half. Going with the knife at the sharpest angle. Alright, that's good enough. So let's cut up these pieces. And you want to cut up the mashed potatoes in little pieces once you've got them peeled, because it just makes it easier to mash everything together once they're boiled. Alright. And these we can just, you know, cut together basically. keep them in place. Cut these, and I'll cut this part by itself. There we go, all is cut. Now what we're gonna do is put them over here with the other potatoes. Yummy, 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 homemade mashed potatoes, gotta love it. Alright, let's put these in here. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to boil these. So I'm going to submerge them in some water. See how much mashed potatoes we're going to get? Now they do condense a little bit, keep in mind, of course, because we're mashing it. But we're going to get, you know, a good enough mashed potatoes. I would say that, you know, this will probably be leftovers for probably a week or two. If that. I love my homemade mashed potatoes, to be honest with you. So I'm going to put the heat on. Let's see. There we go. Got the heat on. I'll put it in the middle. I'll put it in the middle. And then I'm going to put the top on just so we don't have any leakage. Alright, it's always good to have a lid. Okay? So we're going to let those mashed potatoes boil. And then our chicken should be done soon, so we might have to flip the chicken over in a bit. Alright? Oh, you guys, I cannot wait to eat. This is so exciting, and I know this is going to be so good. Alright, we're halfway done. Look how good these wings look. Don't they look so good? Just pull them out of the oven. So now it's time to turn them over. Right? They look so good. We're going to turn them over and let them cook for about another 20 or another 30, 40 minutes. Basically until they're golden brown to your liking. The mashed potatoes are boiling still. It's taking a while for them to heat up, which is understandable. It's a lot of mashed potatoes. It's a huge wok, so it's going to take a while to heat up. Like I said, I've got the AC running because it does get hot in here when I cook. This is kind of a tiny apartment. Alright, for now. But eventually I'm going to move on up. I don't know where I'm going to go. I might not go to the east side. I'm going to go somewhere. Alright, so we've got that. That's good. We're going to put them back in the oven and check back in a few. So we've got these mashed potatoes boiling. They look like they are boiled for the gods. Let's just take the lid off really quickly. Let me grab one of these just to be safe. They look like they are really, really boiled for the gods. So I'm actually going to put this over here. I hate to reach over, but I have no other choice. My kitchen's kind of small. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drain these over here in the now clean sink. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the lid back on so it'll make it easier for me to drain. Because believe it or not, this is heavy. But while I drain it out, while I drain it out, I'm going to keep the stove on. Because we're going to put the dry mashed potatoes or the dry cut potatoes on the stove for just a few minutes so they dry out even more. So let's just grab it by the handles. Alright. And then let's just kind of angle the lid so it drains the water out naturally, but keeps the potatoes in. there shouldn't be too much water if you boil them for long enough. Alright, and if some things fall out, that's okay. You know, just leave them, you know, let them go down the drain. Alright. The perils of a small kitchen. Alright, I think these are pretty much dry. I'll drain out any further water I have. Let's see if there's any other water. There's a little bit of water coming out. Alright. Not that much. Alright, so that's good. So let's put these back on the stove. Let them dry out. And we'll let them dry out this time without the lid. Alright. Now, because technically this is non-stick, I do have a wooden kind of masher that I got from a Korean store that I'll use to actually mash the potatoes. But for now, just because I want them to all get evenly dried out and kind of suck that moisture out, alright, I'm just going to use this wooden spoon to kind of work everything around. And as you work stuff around, it'll naturally mash, once again, if you boiled it for long enough, alright? And then at the end, what I'll do is I'll use the immersion blender to do that kind of final touch. But because I'm using a wok, a non-stick wok technically, I'm just making sure I use wooden utensils. It doesn't really matter what utensils you use, you know, if you're using anything other than non-stick. But if you're using non-stick, of course, you just want to be careful of stuff like that. So actually, while the mashed potatoes dry out, I'm just going to start mashing with my wooden masher here. This actually does a pretty good job. Before this, I used to use a metal masher to mash potatoes in here, and I ended up scratching the bottom of this wok. But the good thing is it's carbon steel, so underneath it's carbon steel, so it's not too much I should worry about. Now, because I like my mashed potatoes creamy, I'm going to put some, I think I've got some fat-free milk over here. I've got some soy milk. I'm going to mix both of them, just a little bit of each, just because I have both. I'm technically lactose intolerant, so I'm going to put probably more soy milk than fat-free milk, but you know, soy milk, if you put too much, can have a certain taste to it. I'm also going to put some goat butter. I personally don't like to use regular butter. I really like the taste of goat butter. It's also healthy for you, or I believe healthier for you. Look how these mashed potatoes are turning out just from me using this wooden thing in the wok. See how this is the reason why I love. And as this happens, you know, you can kind of lower the heat. Make sure you lower the heat, alright? You don't want them to like burn up or anything like that. But see how fluffy they're becoming? This is exactly what you want. This means that the moisture is coming out of them. So that means you can lower the heat. So like I said, I'm going to use the milk. I'm going to use some sour cream. I may or may not use, I actually, initially I thought I didn't have sour cream. So I knew I had some whipped cream cheese, so I was like, maybe I can use that in place of the sour cream. But I ended up finding the sour cream, so I'm going to put the sour cream in. I'll see how I feel about the cream cheese. Maybe I'll put some cream cheese, just because I like it creamy. And then I'm definitely going to put a mix between Parmesan cheese, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and when I say a little, I mean a little, it's all I have. But then I have some shredded Swiss cheese, so I guess we'll have Swiss cheese mashed potatoes. Usually I like Parmesan cheese mashed potatoes, but you know, once again, we're working with what I have. So I think these are pretty much almost mashed to perfection. Like I said, the immersion blender will do whatever else didn't mash. But these look pretty good to me, to be honest. You can kind of really get aggressive there, I guess, you know, for lack of better words. And then, you know, whatever is on the masher. Once again, I don't know exactly where you can find these. I don't even know where these are called, but there's a really good... I live in a pretty diverse area in Virginia. Virginia is a very diverse state, especially in certain areas. I live in Northern Virginia. So they have a lot of international type of stores and products here. And And I found this in a Korean store. I think it's called Global Foods or something like that. And I picked it up because I was like, I feel like I could use this. And then it came to me, I was like, this would be good for making mashed potatoes. So if you worry about scratching up your stuff, get one of these. I don't know what they're called, but they come in handy. Alright, so we're going to add, once again, oh, I may have to move this. Give me a second. I have to open up the refrigerator. So my neighbor was really nice enough to, I guess they had excess fat-free milk. So my neighbor one day recently came over, and normally I wouldn't take stuff, you know, from, you know, anyone, you know, I don't know, just because that's just how I am. But something just told me I feel like I could use it, and I checked and it wasn't opened. Alright, the thing is still on it. So let's just open this fat-free milk. I'm really glad my neighbor gave this to me. They didn't end up needing it because I'm going to use this for my mashed potatoes. So let's put just a little bit. That's good amount, because once again I'm going to add soy milk to it because I'm lactose intolerant. But soy milk and regular milk have a different flavor to it. So I'm lactose intolerant enough where if I don't use too much regular milk, I should be fine. But if I mix it with soy milk, I should be even better. So there we go. We mixed a little bit of soy milk and a little bit of fat-free milk. I'm going to take the sour cream. I'm going to put a dollop of sour cream in there. Alright. A good dollop of sour cream. I like my mashed potatoes creamy. Maybe actually put 2 dollops if like you really like your potatoes creamy. Alright. And then if you want, oh wait, this one isn't even open. I guess I'll open it. Why not? I think because I want that extra creaminess, I'm just going to make sure I put, alright, we'll put this away. That was the extra sour cream. I'm going to get another spoon. A clean spoon this time, and I'm going to put a dollop of whipped cream cheese. Once again, which will just give it a little bit of creaminess. I just have to take more than a dollop. Just going to let that sit in there for a while. Eventually it'll fall off the spoon. No need to worry. And then I've got my goat milk. I'm going to cut a piece of goat milk. Got these knives that I inherited from, see how easy that fell off? Love that. Alright. I inherited these knives. I don't know where my aunt got them from, but they come in handy for cutting steaks and stuff like this. So I'm going to cut a piece of goat butter. Did I say goat milk? I meant to say goat butter. Just put some butter in there. Butter adds to the, oh dang, I didn't mean to do that. It's okay, we'll throw that away. Butter adds to the creaminess and the butteriness of and the richness of the mashed potatoes. So there we go. That's enough butter. These are going to be really creamy, you guys. And then lastly, we add the cheese. This is all the Parmesan cheese I have. Not that much, I know. This is how you use up ingredients, though. One thing I hate doing is wasting product. And then I think I'm going to use, because we have so much potatoes, and I like cheesy potatoes, and you know, we don't have that much Swiss cheese in here, I think I'm just going to use the rest of the Swiss cheese I have in here. There we go. That's a good amount. We're going to mix everything together. Smells like my wings are almost done. Alright. Mix everything together. See how creamy? Oh, I love that. It looks so good. Now the reason why we use the immersion blender at the end, and I actually like some seasoning. I need some seasoning in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, where's my garlic salt and my pepper? I'm going to add some garlic salt in here. No other salt needed, just use garlic salt. And some pepper. Alright, and I like paprika. Now because I don't have paprika, I'm going to use Berber seasoning. It's spelled B-E-R-B-E-R-E. And it takes the place of paprika. So good. So good in mashed potatoes. Alright, so we're going to mix all that together because I need some seasoning up in here, right? Delicious. So good. Ooh, so creamy. It may not seem like we need that immersion blender, but we're just going to add that immersion blender to add that extra creaminess. I love my immersion blender because it really helps to get rid of those hard bits. Alright. So we just want to make sure we mix everything together. Mix all the spices and the herbs and the cheeses and the sour creams and the milks and the... See how creamy it's coming together? Oh my god, I'm so excited to eat this. Alright. Let me mix everything together a little bit more actually. Alright, so I'm going to put this in a bowl. I'll use the bowl later for eating my darn self. And then we're just going to use the immersion blender. I've got the NutriBullet. Let me make sure you can see on the camera. I've got the NutriBullet immersion blender. It comes with 2 attachments. It comes with a whisk and it comes with a blender portion. Both are really good. However, I'm going to use the blender portion. Once again, it's the NutriBullet immersion blender. And I think we're just going to go on high speed first. Let's see how that goes. There we go. The creaminess is coming along even more. Such an interesting noise. Make sure you get the sides. Looking creamy to me. I don't know about you. I think now we can turn the oven off. Or the stove off. There we go. We've got our mashed potatoes. Look how easy that was. Look how creamy they look. They look perfectly done, just how I like them. Nice and creamy. We've got everything mixed together well, blended together well. But I love this immersion blender. It was only $30 from Bed Bath & Beyond. It may have been cheaper than that because I'm pretty sure I used a coupon. Unless I bought something else with it, which is also possible. Why not? Why just go for one thing and, you know, I like to shop around and look around just in case I find some other stuff I may need. So this is actually really easy to clean as well, even though there's a bunch of mashed potatoes stuck in there now. But the great thing is that we've got our mashed potatoes done, and I can take this off and clean this part. No need to clean this part, but I will wipe this down, of course, you know, just for sanitary reasons. And our mashed potatoes are done, so we can just put a lid on this. Where did I put that lid? Oh, we have to clean the lid. Hold on, let me clean the lid really quickly. Forgot I put the lid over here. Silly me. Alright, let's clean this lid good. So we can put it on these delicious mashed potatoes so they don't turn lukewarm. While we wait for the chicken to finish, and I'm going to cut my fresh ingredients for my salad. Alright, so we've got a clean lid. Just going to drying it off as best as I can. There we go. We're going to let that cool down. And I'll be back. The chicken should be done soon. Alright, it looks like our 4th of July delicious dinner worked out well. I've got my mashed potatoes here. As you can see, I've got some goat butter burning. They're so creamy, so delicious. Look how easy that goat butter blends in with the potatoes. So good. We've got our wings here. They look so good, so crispy. I'm ready to dip them in this delicious sauce. This is some chili garlic sauce that I like to get from the International Grocery Store here in Virginia. And I've got my salad here. Simple salad, the same lettuce is at the bottom. And then I spruced it up with some mushrooms. I finally chopped up some jalapeno peppers, red onions. I put a little bit of green onions in there as well. And I'm going to mix it all together and put a little, probably, ranch on top. This is my 4th of July dinner. I hope you all enjoy your 4th of July, whatever you're having. I hope it's good. This was such an easy recipe to make once again. Didn't take that long. Maybe took about an hour or two at the most. But this is going to be so good. It's going to feed the family, or it could just feed you if this is just a party of one. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I'm going to dig in. I'm so excited.